Hi, are you struggling with managing multiple domains across your business? Well, in this lesson, we're learning all about forwarding domains. So that way different websites can go to the same place. This way you can handle your old domains. You can help people find you on the web. You can maximize your SEO, and you can even block competitors. I'm Angel from RT Course Experts, and we help creative online course teachers with their tech. In this lesson, we're learning all about forwarding domains. We're going to learn what is it, why forward, how to forward, and then we'll go over an example, and finally we'll summarize all our top tips. So first of all, what is a domain? So a domain is a web address. So a domain is a name of a service that you type on your browser and then you go somewhere. That somewhere is like a computer. It could be your course, it could be your community, it could be your coaching website. So that computer that has that service has an address, just like a home address, 123 Main Street. But you look up a name in the old school yellow pages, you look up a name on Google, or you hear about a name on some ad. So that name is your website business, and that's the domain. So the domain basically maps names to computer IP addresses. So you have it, right? Like maybe your main website, something.com, is a name, and that maps to a computer website, some WordPress hosting website or something like that. So what we're going to talk about today is forwarding domains. So what is this forwarding a domain concept? Well, you can configure more than one website to point to another server. So you can have a few websites that point one computer, one server, one service. In some cases, you may have one address that points to a server, and you may want to have a second address, an old address, forward, just like mail forwarding. So you may want to have one or more addresses point to a particular server. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to explain why that's useful. Why domain forwarding is useful is that there are lots of use cases when you may want more than one address pointing to this specific server that you have. Let's just say it's your course server. Why this is all useful is because you may want to have old names, new names, alternative names, all pointing to the same place, the same server. One of the first reasons why you may want to forward your domain is that you have an old domain. So when you first started your company, you came up with this name, and over time you evolved that name. So you don't want to support two different websites. So you want to take your old domain and have it forward to your new domain, your old whatever it was.com to your new latest.com. So you have these two names that both point to the same server. And so that's the very first reason you may want to The next reason you may want to forward domains is that you may have different businesses, right? You may have kind of a container business that oversees, that is an umbrella across all your businesses. And then you may want to have one specific sub business. And in some cases, they're just different names, but they all go to the same place. So if that's the case, you may have your overarching company name point to the same place as your main product or your main service name. So basically you end up with these two names that both point to the same server. Another reason why you may want to forward your domain is that you have a singular or plural version of your business name or your service name. So maybe you're doing something for authors, but you may want to also catch author. So maybe your brand is something authors, but you also want to catch something author.com. So in this case, you end up with two domains. You actually go and buy that second domain on GoDaddy or wherever. And then you have two names, two addresses, but they both point to the same place. One is your main website with the official name, and the other is sort of the singular plural version. The same thing can happen for spelling or for words that sound similar, or for words that have dashes in the middle. So you may have an example, a word, your main brand may be frequently mistyped. Uh, your main brand may be frequently misspelled, or maybe it has an interesting spelling that is hard for people who don't speak your native language. Or maybe you first thought that your brand has these two words and you've decided to buy it with a dash, but later you decided to combine it without the dash. So for all these cases, you would buy alternative domains that handle those variations and have them forward to your main address. Another reason to forward domains are to protect yourself from competitors, basically build a moat around you so that you can protect from other future businesses coming into your space. So maybe you have a course on architecture. So maybe you're something architecture helpers, something architecture designers. Over time, you may decide to also have and protect your business. So you have something architecture advisors, something architecture consultants, something architecture courses. So whatever that kind of core brand is, and then you're expanding and covering all these different variants that could potentially come and your market share in the future. Another reason to forward your domain is to preserve SEO value. Let's just say you started off with some domain and you ran that business for a few years. You had blog articles, you had backlinks, you have all this other SEO juice, right? That Google loved and knows about you. Well, when you forward your domain properly, instead of just redirecting with a web link, you get all that original SEO juice forwarded to your next domain. So that second company, that second domain is going to get all the Google search love that you've earned on that first domain with all the hard work. So forwarding gives you all that SEO benefit. Depending on the type of company you run, you may also use cold email addresses to reach out to certain people. And when you go ahead and use cold email, you often end up using other domains, related domains, similar domains. You're going to want those other domains to also forward. So it's not just an email address. If somebody were to check that and look up that email address, you want it going to your main website, your main course, your main community, whatever it is, your landing page. So as you use cold email outreach to expand your audience and your reach and your sales, you're going to also want to make sure that those domains forward to your main service. Finally, as you expand your business and your system and it gets more and more complicated, it might make sense to break up your business parts. So for example, let's just say you have a community for writers, and over time, this community of writers ends up having a help page or an about us page or some other. So let's just say you have a community for set designers, right? For Broadway, for theater, for movies, you have the set designer community and everybody's talking there. Over time, you discover that you need a bunch of help topics outside of your community. So you already have your main sales page, you have your community, which is potentially a subdomain or a separate domain. That's where you actually access the community. But you find yourself having all these resources and documents outside of your community. So in some cases, it might make sense to have help dot, the name of your community.com, and that help dot or whatever your community name is, help.com. What you're basically doing is you're breaking out all the help and you build out this other website that just has help, a bunch of topics, FAQs, it has a search engine, and has all these different help topics, help resources for your community. It just didn't make sense to combine it. Maybe it wasn't part of the community platform you had. So what you do is you build a separate island. And so in those cases, whenever people click on that help, you're sending them to this other place, this other thing. You're sending them to this other island of information that has all the help for that community. This is just one example, but as systems get larger, you break out those components. As systems get larger, you may break out those islands of services, information, etc. Let's talk about how you actually forward your domain. So remember, your domain is this, it's probably part of your hosting plan. And in there, you might have some DNS, domain name system. You might have some DNS entries. So you're going to go look up your domain in there, and then you're going to see a lot of different options. But one of those options is going to be to toggle forwarding. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to specify where do you want this domain to go. So you're going to specify a destination URL, the next place that when they visit this first place, you want them to go to this other place. Then you're going to specify the protocol. The protocol, in high level, it's how two things talk. So there's two standard protocols that we all use. There's two standard protocols that creative course creators use, and that's HTTP or HTTPS. The S is the secure one. So you're going to specify a protocol. Go to this other website using this other language. Secure is good because it sends good signals to Google that it's secure. And if you're maybe going to buy something secure, you get the little like icon, you get the little lock icon. So that's cool. And so it ensures, it gives confidence to your customers. Depending on your hosting system, there's at least these two different options on how to forward. The first one is a code 301. Hey, this is permanent. I'm not building anything here. From now on, just always go to this new website. And that's cool because you also get all the old SEO juice from the prior website. So 301 is permanent. By the way, you can even change it when you need to. But it's basically telling the browser and Google, hey, for now on, as far as I'm concerned, all that old stuff, go to this new place. That's where the new stuff is located. The other option is a 302, which is a temporary forward. And that might be used for maintenance. For example, hey, for the next week, I need you to forward to this other website. Maybe this first website is fully loaded, or it's broken, or the server or the network or whatever, something's going on, and you need to temporarily redirect, temporarily forward to another website. Most of the time for domain forwarding, you're going to use permanent. You're going to use permanent. If you need to, in 6 months, you need to change it, that's okay. You can do that. So just set it as permanent. From now on, the browsers and Google will just say, oh yeah, if I needed that first website, I know I'm going to go to the second website. I remember it. I cache it. I remember it. And I'm just going to use it real quick. I'm just going to go to that next website. The systems will all know how to handle the updated website. Once you finally configure and save that DNS record, you need to wait for something that's called DNS propagation. So that's where your hosting is going to now tell all the other hosting providers, all the other DNS systems, hey, all the other yellow pages. It's going to let them all know, hey, when you're looking for this something.com, go to this other place. So over the next 24 hours, they're all going to update each other. So every internet service provider all around the world is going to have their DNS updated with information for your website. Now let's go over an example about how to actually configure domain forwarding for some business use cases. Let's just say you start off with, in this use case, you decided to buy yofatbeats.com because you're going to teach hip hop music. Maybe you're going to teach hip hop drum lessons or mixing and creating beats. So you decided to buy this domain, yofatbeats, right? And by the way, fat is P-H-A-T and beats is B-E-A-T-Z. So then you realize, you're running your business, and a few months later, you're starting to realize people are searching. They've heard about you, but they're searching for beats with an S. Or maybe for whatever reason, your course is resonating with international students. And for whatever reason, they didn't know that your fat was P-H-A-T and they're using F-A-T. So there's just these things that are happening. You're getting the word out. People are hearing about you, but when they're looking you up, they're not exactly finding you. And you're seeing this or you're hearing about this. So you want to do something about it as the business owner. So what you would do then is to then buy additional domain variants. These are all the other domain variants. So then what you would do then is you would buy additional domain variations based on your budget, based on where you are, based on the feedback that you're hearing, that people are searching for you, but they're not finding you. So you're buying these variations, maybe beats with an S, beats with a Z, right? So you're getting these other variations. So let's just say you buy these 5 other domain variations, right? You don't want to blow the budget, but you just that people are searching for or entering in Google this stuff, or directly right on the web browser, on their mobile phone, on their computer, they're entering this stuff and they're getting error, not found, nothing's there. But you have your main website at yofatbeats.com. So you're buying these other domains and then you're going to set them up for domain forwarding. So the way that would work is you're going to go to, on each of those domains, you're going to go to DNS settings for each one, and you're going to go to each one and you're going to see that you're going to forward that individual record to, and that's where you enter the website, your main website, yofatbeats.com. So that's where you're going to enter it. And for each of those variants, you're going to forward that variant domain to the main one, yofatbeats.com, right? And then you're going to specify a permanent redirect, because you're not really going to build out those variants. You're going to take them and you're going to forward them from here on. So if somebody accidentally links to it, that's okay. Your SEO juice is going to get forwarded to your main property. If they had previously entered it on a browser and then the browser downloads the DNS info and says, oh yeah, this website, this domain is now forwarding to this other thing, it's going to cache that. It's going to remember it. So things are going to be faster, SEO juice is going to happen, and you're going to reach out with, a bigger net. You're going to pull in more students into your main property. So you're going to save that, and then little by little, you're going to start getting forwards. You're going to start getting forwards from all these different variants, and then you're going to see your traffic's going to go up. You're going to protect yourself from competitors. Maybe in the future, if you evolve your brand into a different name, you can also use domain forwarding so that you can catch different variations of your business as you evolve, from maybe drum lessons to beats or to an entire music production business. So to level up, use redirects to easily have more addresses go to existing servers. So that way, the main server that you have with your website, with your courses, with your community, that all just keeps going. You're just sending more, you're just forwarding more visitors to your primary websites. Let's summarize. Here are the top things you need to know. So domains are names that map to computers, IP addresses. And usually you have a domain for your main website, something.com. So you use domain forwarding when you have more than one name pointing to the same place. Super useful for old domains, different domains, even to build out and to block competitors. There's a lot of different reasons why you may want to forward domains. And then it's super easy to do. You go to your registry, it's super easy to do. And if not, tech helpers like RT Course Experts can help you out. You're basically going to go for each domain you want to forward, choose it, update the record of where you want it to go, specify your protocol, say that it's a permanent, save it, and then a few hours later, anybody that visits that old address is going to start appearing at the new address. So now you're a lot smarter on forwarding domains for your creative e-learning business. To learn more, check out the info and links in the notes. If you're loving this stuff, subscribe to keep leveling up your creative business. And if you need any tech help with your courses, community, or teacher website, visit www.rtcourseexperts.com. Thanks for hanging out. Let's stay in touch.